instead of like selling apples the usual way throughout the month of October, shaping the apples like jack-o'-lanterns, painting them orange and putting all the decorations. Would that be an example of an apple entrepreneur taking advantage of creativity, or am I just going crazy?
No, absolutely. That would be it. But it could also be, I am going to I'm going to cross an apple with a pumpkin and see if I can get an apple to grow that tastes like a pumpkin. That's another
Oh,
version of creativity. It's this version of, I am going to think of the world's worst idea and turn it into the best idea.
hey, Delishees, grab a plate and taste the delicious culture. I'm your host, Jon Francois. We are feasting on food, pop culture, and lifestyle with therapist, performer, certified creativity and innovation coach, host of the Sustaining Creativity podcast, Mari Reisberg. I got that right?
You got it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, for those of you watching on Spotify and YouTube, she gave me the thumbs up on camera. I love that, the seal of approval. Mari, I am so done because, like I told you just before we started recording, I was reading on your info here that you sent me. You have a BFA from the Hartt School in acting. Two things that we have in common. One, I also have dabbled in acting. I didn't finish my bachelor's degree, but I did do enough of that where you could say partial, halfway bachelor's degree. Well, you know what? A bachelor's degree in theater and a communication and minor. No, a bachelor's degree in theater with a minor in communication. That's the right way to word that. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I started a BFA at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, which is not existent anymore, and then I finished up with the theater and communication thing at Eastern Connecticut State University. So Hartt School, you happen to be settled in my hometown of West Hartford. That's where you got your BFA.
That is it. A long time ago. Yes, but it was amazing. And now it's even more amazing. I went there before their new building was constructed. So
Yeah. And how has the new building changed things? I hope for the better.
absolutely. I mean, when I went there, we were having theater class in old mansions that were really cold. And now they actually have theaters that they get to hold class in and rehearsal space. And, it's come a long way since I was there.
Mari, one could argue that the cold wakes you up and gets you ready for the theatrical performance that you need to put out there.
I love that perspective. And it was just cold. Who wants to be at 8 a.m. sitting in an old classroom trying not to fall asleep? I mean, come on, you're 19 trying to participate and pay attention.
The cold will certainly keep you awake at 8 a.m. And may I argue, it's also good because when you're on stage, those stage lights can be pretty hot, and they got to keep the theater cold anyway to balance that out. So might I say they were training you for a long career in cold theaters.
In cold theaters. Fine. You've won me over. That perspective. You win.
Tell me about your BFA experience because, like, I'll just give like a brief snapshot of mine. I was a big fish in a small pond in my high school theater department. So because I just happened to do well with acting classes, theater productions, I thought, all right, acting must be what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to seek that in college. So I went to and I also went to high school in Connecticut, by the way. You're familiar with Hall High School in West Hartford, not too far from the Hartt School? Yep.
Yeah.
That's where I went to high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Also a long time ago. But I went to the University of the Arts of Philadelphia for my BFA in acting, and almost immediately, because of personal stuff with family, and also because it's a very different kind of intensity compared to a high school program.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. Like, the intensity of the Meisner technique when you're learning that for acting. For those of you who don't know, it's a method acting technique where you're really giving, I would say, a lot more of yourself as opposed to whatever characters you're bringing to the table in an emotional sense. And I think with the personal stuff that I was going through at the time and just not really figuring out my emotions well enough as a teenager going into young adulthood, I struggled. I dropped out after 3 semesters. And
Mm.
oddly enough, when I transferred to Eastern Connecticut State University to finish up with a theater and communication degree, it was a sequel to high school in that I went from,
Oh,
oh my God, I would never act again. This frightens me with all this Meisner stuff to, oh, wait a minute, acting can be fun again. So, what's your BFA? Because I hear
yeah,
BFA as opposed to BA, and I think, ooh, God, ooh,
right.
that could either be
Right.
very fulfilling or very intense.
I would say all of the above. Like
Okay, great.
it was everything. I grew up in Oregon and went to college in Connecticut, but between high school and college, I toured with a theater company, an aerial dance and physical theater company off Broadway, California, Washington State, and then went to college. So I'd already had a year of kind of life under my belt heading into a BFA program.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that year, kind of that gap year, so to speak, really helped me step into a BFA program of high intensity. They ask a lot of their students, but there were also times where it really felt like summer camp because I wasn't taking like math and science. And I
Right.
did eventually have to take a math class, which felt really odd being a theater major, but those were the requirements of the university. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the acting classes, you're right. We did, I think our very first assignment, our freshman year, was an anger and tears monologue where
Oh
we
my,
either had to be angry or cry. And, yeah,
on command.
that that was intense. And then we had to write a 30-page autobiography of ourselves. And that was also really intense. And that was kind of the introduction to this program. And I don't know, I fully kind of grasped the challenges or the traumas that were happening until I went and got my degree in psychology and then could look back and say, ah, that was really messed up. That should not have been happening. Um, so, there were things that professors were doing to elicit a reaction or response for actors on stage or in rehearsal or in class that were incredibly traumatizing. And no one was there to help us pack everything up before you were sent on to your next class. So there were these peaks and valleys, and that were really difficult. And in acting school, you are surrounded by people who are incredibly talented and incredibly skilled at this art and this craft and desperately trying to figure out who they are. And that is a curious combination when you are constantly being asked to be someone else.
It's a lot. The
It is
anger
a
and
lot.
so the anger and tears monologue, question about that. So you had to be angry and cry on command with a monologue written by yourself? Was it an already established monologue from a
An
play?
established monologue that you chose, an established monologue, and it wasn't both anger and tears. I mean, it was called an anger and tears monologue, but some people leaned into the anger aspect, other people leaned into the tears aspect of it. So,
What did you lean into?
oh, tears.
And how was it? Was it successful?
It was successful. I mean, I think over the years I have learned how to generate tears, which sounds
Yeah,
kind of odd, but to manufacture them on some level.
right.
And so I think as a young beginning actor, that helped. I can tap into emotion pretty quickly. And that was a skill. And, sometimes it doesn't come and we have to do a little manufacturing of emotion or connection, or sometimes it doesn't happen in
Right.
the same way every night. That's the beauty of live theater.
Can I ask what the play was, what your character was, and maybe if it's not too
Sure.
personal, what you used to tap into the emotion of that moment?
Sure. So the play that I chose a monologue from was called Bang Bang You're Dead.
Oh my
And
god, I played the lead in that show in high school.
so you know what it's about.
Oh,
It's based on the very first high school mass shooting.
yeah. Which was, I mean,
And
what was Columbine arguably the one that was, like, the first big one, or was it way before that?
I this happened before Columbine.
Gotcha.
Um so and the monologue, if I'm remembering correctly, was I kind of pieced it together from different shorter things, but just about the experience of being in a school shooting and seeing people dead on the floor and that whole experience. And for me, at that time in my life, I had gone through a series of death in my life. So tapping into that wasn't too foreign to me. Um,
Mm,
I had just experienced the loss of grandparents, of a cousin, of a friend. And so I think that ability to kind of tap into that connection was very present and easy to access for me. Um, and so I think that really helped in some ways. But witnessing other classmates go through their own journey of this monologue was really, really challenging and pretty traumatizing, kind of vicarious trauma, which is the trauma you experience when someone else experiences trauma and they tell you about it or you're witnessing it happen in some degree. And that's hard, and especially when no one is there to, like, walk you through it or talk about it or even name it.
yeah. And I'm wondering, I mean, automatically I go to the professor and how they reacted to that. Cause I don't know, I'll just give an example. When I was doing a Meisner exercise in an acting class back in like my first sophomore semester at UArts, which turned out to be my final semester there.
Mhm.
I don't know I don't know what to name that exercise, but have you done Meisner?
I have.
Okay, so it's that exercise where you're just essentially like repeating like two people are just
Mhm.
kind of repeating what each other says, but like in that repetitious phrase, there's like these roller coaster of emotions. Do you know what exercise I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called, but I think maybe it's just like repetition because you're saying something, you're like making a statement that's essentially trying to elicit something out of someone else, and they are staying fairly neutral and repeating it. But then you're kind of noting the response and reaction that this other person had, and then you have, and they kind of report the response or reaction that they are witnessing. It is a
Right.
curious. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. The plates are spinning. The plates are spinning. The plates are spinning. Like just take any
Right.
phrase and you could go anywhere with it with the Meisner exercise. So I had a breakdown that somehow related to an unfortunate period of time that I had with my brother when we were in our earlier childhood.
Huh.
And the exercise is over, and there's that moment where me and the fellow actor are discussing the exercise, and the teacher discusses their thoughts about it. And I just remember like breaking down in tears over the guilt of what was occurring with me and my brother at the time,
Yeah.
and just that awkwardness of the teacher. I mean, I think he provided a little bit of sympathy, but just
Mhm.
him, while I was like soaked in tears, just being like, You could have done more. This is not quite where we were going with this exercise." It was weird. Like, it just felt like, "Oh god, these emotions that I'm experiencing right now are being invalidated." So it was, I don't know.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was quite a time. Um, but So you had the anger and tears monologue, and you were able to access the emotion with that. The 30-page, did you say a 30-page monologue about yourself that you
No,
had to write? Literally?
30-page autobiography we had to write.
Now, why did it have to be specifically 30 pages?
Who knows? I have no idea why that was the thing, but we had to write and then turn in 30 pages.
And did you have to recite it or like
No,
just
it was just like our life story that our professor then had to read.
so you had to give like, I mean, at this point you were like what, 17, 18, 19?
Yeah, 19.
Okay, okay. How did you fare with that? I mean, did it become difficult? Was it exciting? Did it bring up some stuff that you didn't want to think about? Like, what was it?
I mean, I think for me, it didn't feel like this really overwhelming assignment. I love talking about myself. I could talk about it myself for hours, done cool things. I feel like I've got a lot of things to say.
Mhm.
And so for me, it didn't feel like a big leap to kind of write 30 pages about my life. Yeah, I'm only 19, but I started performing when I was 3. So
Mm.
I I feel like I'd lived a life up to that point
Yeah.
and grew up in a really kind of unique way and experience. I grew up in Oregon. I had a 30-foot walking labyrinth in my front yard. I went to a Waldorf school. Very unique compared to my friends in college. It was something, many of them had never been west of the Mississippi River. And here I am from Oregon, in Connecticut. I crossed the country to go to school. Many of
Yeah.
them had not. And so that was just a very different experience. I came from a family that valued a lot of privileged things like international travel. We weren't like doing these huge, big y- trips, but growing up in Oregon, Canada and Mexico are not too far. And so
Right.
I spent a lot of time in those places, but that was a different experience than many of my friends had at 18, 19
So were
years
you in
old.
Oregon in the spring slash early summer of 2009 by any chance?
I was not. I was
Damn
in
it.
Colorado at that point. Were you there? Or is that what
Uh,
you
so my high school theater department, they funded a trip to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival back then,
Ah,
and
I
that's
love
where I
it.
was. So I'm disappointed because we could have crossed paths and not even know it.
Exactly. No, I have been out of Oregon since 1999. So,
Wow. As an actor, you want to be called an actor or an actress?
actor is fine. Yeah,
Okay, actor. So thoughts. First of all, have you ever been to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival?
I have many, many times.
Okay, want to get your thoughts about that. I definitely did not appreciate it as much as I should have at the time, especially it costs money. You got to travel from Connecticut.
Right.
It wasn't cheap. Um, because I've just never been like the biggest Shakespeare fan. I take the dumb guy approach, which is just like, oh, because the language is so heightened and so
Uh,
royally, I just don't connect with it. Even though, I had a fun time performing one of the monologues from his plays. I forgot. It's the All the World's a Stage monologue, the
yeah.
Jacques, which I was told it was a good performance, but it like the way I performed it was nothing like what the character was trying to say with it. So that was something. But anyway, yeah, I just never connected to Shakespeare on that level like my high school
Mhm.
theater director did. And therefore I take from the festival experience only the experience of just hanging out with my theater classmates and then just putting up with all the plays that we had to see, a
Yeah.
very wonderful production of Othello now looking back included, which again I didn't appreciate at the time.
Mhm.
So your thoughts on the festival, what you experienced, and what your relationship with is with Shakespeare in general.
Well, if this gives you any information, I was the only person in my 8th grade class to stay awake for the entirety of Hamlet.
So I take it you are a Shakespeare fan.
I love Shakespeare. I
I
do.
love that.
Yes.
I love that. What do you love about it?
I mean, I love the characters. The 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 villain is a villain. The hero is a hero. The lovers are lovers. The fool is such a fool in such a beautiful way. The mystical characters get to live in that magic space. The I mean, all of the characters have so much room for play. And I think that is something that I really connect to and really love about Shakespeare. And it's funny to hear you say the the kind of the elevated language, but so much of like all of the direction he wrote in the dialogue. Every stage direction is like written into the dialogue.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that all of the information you need is right there. And some of it, yes, they're using phrases and terms and words that we do not use today. And yet so much of our language comes from that time and those places that, you know, if we knew more or studied it, we could see those connections. But I don't know. I love the nuance of the milkmaid character in Love's Labor's Lost, and just having that was the character that I got to play in college, Jacquinetta, and she's just like such a this simpleton yet has so much to say about
Yeah.
things, and so I don't know, I really appreciate the nuances of character and the straightforwardness and the mystery of some, and so those are my
I could see
pieces.
myself getting I could see myself getting into Hamlet only because I've read that one of my favorite Disney movies from my childhood, The Lion King, is basically
Ah,
a version of Hamlet.
Hamlet. Yes, absolutely. I love it. Yeah.
Oh my god. So Love Labors is Lost, is that what, and I probably missaid the name of that play. Is that your favorite Shakespeare play?
I don't know if it's my favorite Shakespeare play. I am a sucker for Twelfth Night and The Tempest and Midsummer Night's Dreams. I love the comedies. The histories, they're
Yeah.
okay.
So you're saying
But
like when you say that Shakespeare like incorporates the blocking into the dialogue, like, all right, I'll give an example of modern dialogue. Hey, my dignity is not up for grabs. And I'm like wagging my finger. So in the
yeah.
parentheses in the script, in a modern script, it says I'm wagging my finger. And then Shakespeare would be like, I'm wagging my finger to you as I say my
Yes.
dignity is not up for grabs. That's basically
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah. It would be like, I thrust my chin in your direction because of XY, you know, XYZ. And so
I
he's
love
given
that.
the actor that little tidbit of information.
I love that because I am someone who is very slow at remembering blocking.
Mhm.
I recently performed in a production for Vermont Stage in Burlington here in Vermont.
Nice.
You're familiar with the Eugene Ionesco absurdist play Rhinoceros?
I am, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I was recently in that production, and if you're familiar with it, you know that there's a lot that goes into it.
There
Um,
is, yeah.
Half the battle was just me remembering like all the fucking blocking with the rhino choreography that we had to do and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because it was inhabitants in a small town gradually turning into rhinoceroses. So not only are we dealing with this
Mhm.
dense absurdist language, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, two step, three step, and then cock your head and roll your shoulders and neigh. Like it's just, I was internally thinking like I didn't go to rhino dance choreography school. I don't know what I'm doing.
Like,
So
but you did now. Now you've done it, you could say.
I have done it. I can
Yeah.
write it in the history books. But yeah, no, so some dumb guy like me that's very slow on learning blocking, I love that because when blocking is just like stuck in parentheses at the end of a line,
Yeah.
it's easy for me to think of it as an afterthought. I'll say my
Mhm.
line like, "Oh, the plates are spinning. My cup is oh, wait," and then I have to move here while I say the plates are spinning.
Right.
But if you say oh, let me move here while the plates are spinning. It's like automatically my brain goes, yeah, all right. So all
Yeah.
right, this is what I'm doing as I'm saying this line. Like I get it quicker.
Yeah. No, it's he was smart. Or whoever wrote the plays was smart.
Oh yeah,
Think
I was gonna bring that up because I think I was listening to a few episodes of the Stuff You Should Know podcast, and I think one of their latest
uh-huh.
episodes they had brought up the question of like, did Shakespeare really write his plays? Now, why is that something that's up for debate when his credit has been to his plays, or his name has been attached to these plays all these years? Like, suddenly, where did this conspiracy come from?
That is a great question. I don't actually know where the conspiracy or the thought that he didn't write all of the plays came from, but there were so many playwrights in that time that were writing for so many patrons that I think this idea that people were just kind of contributing to so many things and writing their own things, and maybe it was produced and maybe it wasn't, and maybe you had a patron who was paying you to write something and maybe you didn't, and people were using pseudonyms, and all these things were happening during that time period. So I don't know like who the first person was to be like, Shakespeare didn't write that play. It
'Cause there are
was someone
it's a
else.
lot of amazing iconic plays, and I think,
Yeah.
what I'm getting from what you're saying is, like, wow, the likelihood that all of this body of work belongs to this one person and this one person only is wow,
I
that's
mean,
quite a coinky dink.
it could be possible if you think of like the papers that Hamilton wrote. My God, the man wrote a bajillion compared to other people of that time. He was just a prolific writer. So
Mm.
Shakespeare, I mean, it's very possible. And there are so many other people writing prolifically at the same time. So, and there's thoughts that his wife or sister or, there were all these women who were also writers who weren't recognized because of their gender
Mm.
as writers. And so
Yeah, didn't
there's
at the
that
time, like,
layer.
Shakespeare's plays were first put on in the public, women were not allowed to be in the show, so, like, all the men played the female characters, right, at the
That
time?
is that is correct. Yeah.
Huh, interesting. And
Yeah.
I and this is probably something I should search on my own, but I wonder, like, what was, like, the earliest representation of, like, an actual female, um,
In a play.
performing on
Yeah,
stage.
that I don't know, but that
Yeah.
would be interesting to Google
I'm gonna
and
say
find out.
I'm gonna do the quickest, please spare me, please be patient
Mm,
with me. The
go
first
ahead.
I'm literally searching right now. The first female to perform in a stage production.
Yeah.
Let's see. The first known woman to perform professionally on the English stage was Margaret Hughes, who took on the role of Desdemona in what do you know? Shakespeare's Othello on
Othello.
December 8th, my mom's birthday, by the way, December 8th, 1660. She was not born in 1660 at the Vere Street at the Vere Street Theatre in London. This marked a historic shift as for centuries female roles had been played by boys in disguise. So there you go. Othello
There you go.
1660, Margaret Hughes, Desdemona. She broke ground and became the first of many females to perform on stage.
Nice. I love the random fact discovery.
That I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to give it to you. Marie Reisberg,
Mari Reisberg.
Mari Reisberg. You see, I told you I'm
It's
gonna have to
okay.
repeat it.
Mari rhymes with Atari, Ferrari, Safari, Starry. Sorry.
Every time I look at my Safari app, I'm gonna think of you. I'm gonna think
There
of
you
you
go.
as one of my recent podcast guests. I love that. So I'm fascinated by how you became a certified creativity and innovation coach, and also tell me what that is.
Yeah, great. Yes. So after getting a degree in acting, I lived in New York City for a moment, sang with Irish band, was a nanny, worked in restaurants, and then decided I want to do something different. I discovered the creative arts therapies, dance therapy, drama therapy, music therapy, art, like fine art therapy, and went to get my master's in somatic counseling psychology, dance movement therapy. And while I was doing that, I started combining these ideas of acting and psychology together, which came to the fruition of sustaining creativity. And so that is this whole body of work that I have that I teach and share with primarily acting and dance departments at universities around the country. And from there, I was introduced to a gentleman named Michael Lee. He lives in South Africa and he is a creativity coach and innovator. And he put together a training for creativity coaches. And I took his training. It was like 9 months of training and then client work and putting it all together. And so it's this process, his process of creativity, kind of in a pyramid version of from safety to vision and everything in between in creativity. And so that was the training that kind of formally labeled me as a creativity coach and innovation coach.
Yeah.
However, I have been using creativity in my work and innovation in the work that I do long before I took that formal training, but I was very curious. I think that's part of the creativity that just is innately in me. I'm a curious human. I love knowing things. I love learning things. And so that's what kind of drew me into that world of creativity coaching. I also am a licensed professional counselor in Colorado. So I'm a therapist and work with people in the performing arts and not in the performing arts around life challenges and transitions. But the creativity coaching, for me, the foundation of it lives in a foundation of safety and trust. And that safety and trust that lives within us, the relationship we call an intrapersonal relationship with ourselves, the
Mm.
interpersonal relationship we have with others, and then the relationship we have with the environment we are in. So that is the foundation of creativity coaching and innovation coaching in my world and the sustaining creativity work that I do. So that's kind of where it sparked and bubbled up. And then it just continues to grow and evolve. And it's now becoming more of more in the kind of normal conversations that people are having. Creativity is really important to people. Not so much 10 years ago when I was starting this. I had to
Really?
I had to do a little more convincing
Now,
around
why were we not so enthusiastic about creativity 10 years ago compared to now?
because I think the biggest thing is it was hard to quantify or even qualify. Like in 2017, Forbes magazine came out and said, creativity is the skill of the future. And that was a little bit of a turning point for people. It's now being recognized in business, it's being recognized in executive level. It's now a skill that people are recognizing outside of performing arts. Because creativity has always been kind of lumped in with acting, dance, music, painting, sculpture, all of those kind of fine arts pieces. And now we're seeing it show up in business, in the world of accounting, in the world of entrepreneurs, in the world of marketing, all of these other places that if someone previously had said, "Oh, you're so creative," the people in those business roles probably wouldn't agree. They would say like, no, I'm not really creative. I'm just doing my job." But the tenets of creativity show up each and every day in how we think, how we look at something, how we get dressed in the morning, how we drive to the office, how we communicate with people in our life. So 10 years ago was kind of the beginning of how people started to shift how they viewed creativity in kind of a career. It wasn't just for performing arts anymore.
I want to see if I can give an example so I can like better understand what you're saying. So say somebody
Yeah.
runs an Apple business and they want to
Mhm.
get into this creativity thing that you're talking about. Instead of like selling apples the usual way throughout the month of October, shaping the apples like jack-o'-lanterns, painting them orange and putting all the decorations. Would that be an example of an Apple entrepreneur taking advantage of creativity, or am I just going crazy?
No, absolutely. That would be it. But it could also be I'm going to I'm going to cross an apple with a pumpkin and see if I can get an apple to grow that tastes like a pumpkin. That's another
Oh.
version of creativity. It's this version of, or I'm going to think of the world's worst idea and turn it into the best idea. So,
Mm.
the worst idea for an apple farmer would be to cut down all their trees and like not grow apples and do something else. And by thinking that, the apple farmer might say, oh, but if I cut down all the trees, that actually gives me a foundation of for this other thing
Mhm.
that, or if I cut down every other tree, that allows something else to show up for me. Or I'm going to use this wood to create this other thing that's going to generate an even bigger idea
Mhm.
for the apples. So it could
Interesting.
be in how we think of something, how we view something, it could be how we act on it or engage with it. Maybe it's like, you know what? I'm going to put on Yo-Yo Ma and wear the gauziest dress and dance around the apple trees. That's my
Yeah.
version of relating to the environment of the apples. So creativity can look many different ways. There isn't one version of it. There isn't one way to do it. But the difference between creativity and innovation, creativity is a process, innovation is action.
When you had mentioned earlier about all kinds of therapy, like fine arts therapy, the therapy kind of
Hmm.
associated with acting, that acting
Yeah.
psychology combination that you had mentioned. Um, I mean, I only know of the traditional kind of therapy that I take on myself, where I literally talk to a therapist about whatever's going on in
Hmm.
my life. So when you say things like fine arts therapy, dance therapy, like what does that mean?
So speaking as a dance movement therapist, our the connection between our body and our mind is one that can be profound and oftentimes doesn't exist. So, the idea of dance movement therapy is bridging the gap between the body and the mind. So, we are paying attention to the information our body is giving us so we can attend to anxiety before it becomes panic. So we can attend to depression before we struggle to get out of bed. It's a way to start paying attention to the cues and signals our physical body is providing us so we can attend to them in a way that helps us navigate the world more effectively. It can be done through many things. Movement, it's also being connected enough to your physical body to notice an impulse, follow an impulse, and then resolve an impulse. Follow it. So notice it, follow it, resolve it. We often don't do that in in real
Mhm,
life.
mhm,
And so this is about giving more focus and attention to this connection between our body and our mind because we are a full our body includes our head and our body, not just this 8-pound round-ish space above our shoulders. So
mm, mm,
it's using our body as a tool for change,
mhm.
like using a painting as a tool for change or using drama therapy um, experience where you're acting out characters in your life is also a form of therapy.
One of your specialties being dance movement therapy.
Mhm.
If I were someone completely green into this and I'm coming into, say, a class that you're holding, and
Yeah.
I say something as simple as, all right, like I have this funky depression that I need to figure out what to do with it. Is there like a specific dance or a movement exercise
Mm.
that I could use to work through that? Like, what would you
Mhm.
likely say, or what would you likely recommend specifically to that person that says that?
Yeah. So I think if someone were to come in and be able to describe all of that, I'd be like, great, we're starting not at ground zero. most of the time, that's not what happens. So most of the time, we're getting people who are coming in and saying, like, I just feel bad, or I feel off, or something doesn't feel, quotes, right. And
Right.
so we're starting at an even slower pace and level of, okay, well, let's just take a breath. Let's just breathe for a minute and just notice where the air is entering and exiting your body. Is it entering through your nose and exiting through your mouth? Is it entering your mouth and exiting your mouth, entering and exiting through your nose? And then how deep is it? How shallow is it? We're just going to start noticing some things. And when we start to notice the present moment, things start to change. Things start to shift. We become aware of, oh, actually, my left shoulder, man, I didn't realize that that feels terrible. Okay. So if we put our attention and focus in your left shoulder, how does your left shoulder want to move? What does it have to share with you? If it feels awful, what is that movement or posture that represents that? And as I'm doing this for people who aren't watching the live stream or the video, my left shoulder is curving in towards the center of my body. And so we might exaggerate that, really move that left shoulder into the center and notice, okay, what does that feel like? Or we might do the opposite, really pull that shoulder back, notice what that is like. Or if we don't want to, it feels too intense in that shoulder space, we might say, okay, we're going to take that feeling or that energy and we're going to put it into another body part, like your hand. So how can your hand become a representative of this shoulder space? And can your hand show me what your shoulder feels? Oh, it feels like I'm clenching my fist, or I'm one finger is sticking up and it's moving up and down. And so we might just follow that. Okay, this finger. And then maybe it slows down, or maybe it changes, and then maybe the whole movement changes. And then we might notice, oh, now my shoulder wants to move in a different way or a different space. And
Mhm.
so we're being present, we're trusting that there's wisdom in this. And then at some point, someone who has a hard time trusting their body might say, okay, that's it. I'm done. And you can say, as a therapist, we get to be present with that as well and say, okay, yeah, there are limits to what we can tolerate, whether it's pain, sadness, joy. We all have limits to our capacity. We call it our window of tolerance. And that's where we start building resilience, and growth and change comes from that. But we have to find what those edges are so we can explore them in deeper and more nuanced fashions.
Wow, that's very interesting. I love that. You have a master's in somatic counseling. Again,
I do.
what is that? Please, that sounds fascinating.
Well, somatic psychology, soma is body, so it's body-based psychology. And then there's two kind of offshoots of that. There's dance movement therapy and body psychotherapy, and they each come from different kind of psychology schools. There's some of the younger in the world of psychology, we might think of them as younger, kind of coming, at least dance movement therapy, coming really into aliveness early 1900s. And body psychotherapy, I don't know as much about, but I know has a deeper and more historied lineage than dance movement therapy does. But people have been dancing for centuries and feeling changed from it, from moving their body. There are many cultures who incorporate some version of movement in ceremony, ritual, processing something, thresholds, transitions. We mark things with movement often. And
Hmm.
so there is a deep, rich history of using movement as a tool for therapeutic support, therapeutic growth and therapeutic change, whether we were calling it therapy in air quotes or not. It's something that people have for centuries been using to support themselves through hardship or joy or pain, suffering, all of that.
Yeah. Does moving make you hungry?
Does moving make me hungry? Sometimes I think more it like gives me a lot of energy and it makes me like feel so alive. Like even just that stuff that I was kind of walking you through. Now I'm like, oh, what's happening in my arm and my shoulder? And now I want to go like play and explore that. And, like, all of that. But yeah, it's building a relationship with our bodies is, I think, one of the most important things we can do.
What's a delicious meal that you've had lately?
Ooh, a delicious meal. Oh my gosh. I made egg drop soup the other night and it was so incredible. Chef's kiss. I love that I have all the ingredients in my kitchen to whip it up, and it's so easy and it's so delicious.
What is it? Like, tell me what it consists of.
It consists of a stock, like it could be vegetable stock, chicken stock,
Mhm.
and then it includes ginger, some aromatics, could be ginger and garlic, some a little onion. It has green onion, and then it has some thickening agent, which could be a cornstarch or an arrowroot powder, depending on what you like to use. Salt, white pepper, and then I like to put corn in, and then you whisk eggs and stir the soup and drizzle the eggs so you get these egg ribbons in the soup. And
Hmm.
then it takes about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to make, and it's so good.
Spell that for me. Egg drop soup?
Egg drop soup.
Oh, okay. The
Mhm.
Chinese chicken soup that the internet tells me it is. It's like Chinese chicken
Yeah.
soup? Is that ri
Some people add chicken to it, some people don't. Some people put rice in it. Some people, you can doctor it and add whatever extra things you want, but it is a beautiful light meal, or
this looks
beginning
like something
to a
I would
larger
find
meal.
very comforting in the
Yes,
fall and winter. Is this
summer.
compatible as a summer dish as well?
Absolutely. I literally had it the other night and we're
Yeah.
here. But yeah, I love the simple meals that don't take too long to make. And yeah, tonight I'm making shrimp tacos. So that's another favorite.
Ah, yeah. I need to dive more into the shrimp tacos and less into like the boring chicken beef tacos and steak tacos. Like because I like shrimp. I've eaten shrimp and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this might taste good in taco form if I would just give it a chance. Ah,
Well, the next
God.
time you have shrimp tacos.
I'm coming
It's
over.
another
I'm
easy.
coming
Yeah,
over to wherever
please.
you are in Denver, and, I don't know if the dry climate because it's a dry climate, right?
It is
Yeah.
very.
I don't know if that, like, affects the shrimp tacos positively, but, you gotta tell me, what are you putting in your shrimp tacos that's making it special? Because I know you got a unique one.
I do. Well, I make a homemade taco seasoning blend, and then I love a cabbage on instead of lettuce. So
Mhm.
it's like shrimp with seasoning and then cabbage. And then I love an avocado as well. So avocado and then a hot sauce. And it's right now, it's a local honey habanero hot sauce that makes all the difference. And a corn tortilla that is um, flame flame heated. I stick it on my gas stove and heat it on the flame.
Now, what I found with avocado is that I could, like, at best tolerate it as a part of something as opposed to, like,
Oh,
on its own. Like, on its own,
okay.
it's like on its own, it's like this weird tasteless green mush thing, but when you put it in a taco or, I don't know, you
Yeah.
put it in a nacho grande, I'm like, "Alright, that's fine enough. I could do that."
I love it. I love it. Well, I love avocado. My partner is deathly allergic to it. So
Oh,
it is
wow. So
an
if you get into a
odd
fight with your
combo.
partner, you pull out the avocado and that's their kryptonite.
That is, that is. I would never use that. I would never subject them to the horrible experience of their reaction to avocado. That would
Probably
just
not,
be
because I think they
awful.
might die if they,
Right.
like,
Yeah. This would
sniff
not be
it
good.
long enough. God, and how did the egg drop soup come its way into your life? Like, did you just, like, randomly seek out a recipe, or did a friend recommend it to you?
I mean, I've been eating egg drop soup at Chinese restaurants for the majority of my life. And I finally decided I just need to learn how to make this. It can't be that hard. And so that's what I did. I looked up recipes and then kind of combined several and made it my own. And that's how it came into rotation in dinners in my life.
I really have to expand my Chinese restaurant palate, because literally, I'm ordering something at a Chinese restaurant and it's either chicken lo mein or General Tso's chicken. Just chicken, chicken, chicken. Just basic chicken,
All the
chicken,
chicken.
chicken.
Well, the next time you go, get a little cup of egg drop soup and try it.
Fine. Uh, because you
If
recommended it to
here's the
me.
thing, this is where creativity gets to come in. Creativity is about trying new things. Try it with food. Try just one little bite. It doesn't we're not about like blowing out your palate. It's just trying one thing that's a little bit new. You eat soup,
Yes.
but this is like a different type of soup, but it's still a soup. So we've got the comfort of knowing it's soup and the newness of something we've never tried before.
There you go. There you go. Because when I think soup, I always have that association of, like, the canned chicken soup that I would eat if I'm, like, feeling sick, and
Right,
I gotta
right.
get I gotta get out of that pattern and think of soup as like, "Oh, no, this could be like a restaurant delicacy. This could be a takeout delicacy."
Yeah.
That's my problem. Soup is not only for the sick.
This is true. It is not. It is for all the time. And even in the summer. I think summer soup is equally valuable.
Now, say it's like 100 degrees in Denver and you're eating soup. Could that make you cool? Because I've heard,
Yes.
I used to have a friend that was like, "Oh my God, I drink hot coffee during a heat wave and it's so soothing." And I do not get that, because I think, oh, if I drink something hot or eat something hot like soup, I'm going to be more hot.
Right. But I believe it has something to do with the like, it makes you sweat, which cools you down.
Yeah, that's the ironic part. That I heard about that on
Right.
a podcast, is that when you sweat, that's actually like
Your
making your body a
cooling
cooler temperature.
mechanism kicking in. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I wonder what happens if you don't sweat.
That I
You
don't know.
might.
You're going to have to get some medical doctor on here next time to give you all the ins and outs of what happens if you don't sweat.
I think I'm gonna do my third or fourth search on the internet. What happens if
Perfect.
you don't sweat? Let's see. If you can't sweat normally, your body loses its primary way of cooling down, which can lead to dangerous overheating and serious health risks. Oh,
Well, there you go. So
all right.
sweating is good. Sweating is important.
Sweating is essential to our daily way of life. I want to know, what's a delicious piece of pop culture you've consumed lately, Mari? Huh? Mari?
Yes. Yeah, Mari. A
TV
delicious
TV
piece
show,
of
movie, book,
pop
podcast, play?
culture.
What are you tuning into that you want to share about?
Um, I have been loving Rooster, the new Steve Carell show.
Yes, I've been meaning to watch that. Please tell me about it.
Oh my gosh. It is fantastic. Um, I love Steve Carell and the characters. Takes place at a university, a small, what feels like a seemingly New England town, and I think it is. Um,
Okay, that makes sense.
and Steve Carell's daughter is a professor there. Her husband is also a professor. There's breakups that happen for infidelity reasons. Steve Carell's ex-wife shows up. He writes kind of crime novels and ends up teaching a class on writing there and gets to know the students. And it's kind of just like real-ish, exaggerated real life stuff that happens. But all the actors are stellar and it touches on some interesting pieces of society and the nuances of relationships and how we can like learn from each other and not judge people by the cover of their book, so to speak.
Okay, I know that me and my wife, we saw a Professor Infidelity kind of show on Netflix like not too long ago. I forgot what it was, but it was like a mini series. What is it about professors and infidelities that go together like peanut butter and jelly? Your thoughts?
Oh, my thoughts. I mean, I hate to say it, but like because it happens all the time.
I
I
mean,
think,
there must be like some kind of stress and tension with the work that just makes them do stupid shit like that.
but I think also you're like around, I mean, I think the same could be said for performers. You're like around this certain collection of people
Mhm.
all the time for so many reasons. And the other people in your life, whether it's a spouse or partner in some capacity, that isn't the primary focus of what you're doing most of the time. And so, or if you're researching something or excuse me, I don't know, in a show, in something, you're spending a lot of extra time, long hours, stuff with other people in intimate settings. You get to know people and stuff happens.
Stuff happens. Yes. Yeah, I definitely can relate that with fellow actors. I mean,
Right.
way in my past before I was married. Yeah, I mean, you're going through you say you're doing a theater production with these people. It could be 2 3 months you're rehearsing with them, or just 3 very intense weeks like I did recently with Rhinoceros, and you are essentially like forming this close bond. You're going through the
Yeah.
highs of like, wow, we're, we got our adrenaline pumping with this performance, with this choreography, with all this funny dialogue. We're going through the lows of the director being frustrated at us by not getting it, and we're trying to get it. We're even meeting in rehearsal privately to figure it out, in addition to the public rehearsals with the director. And then you do it in front of an audience, and it's like, oh my god, like this thing that we thought was going to crumble feels good, let's go out for a drink afterwards. I mean, there's all these sources
Right.
of just extreme bonding that you do over a
Hmm.
short period of time that yeah, of course. I mean, for those who have partners and they're not involved in that process, yeah. I mean, the actors are probably gonna likely cohabitate with each other if the
Yes.
chemistry and the romantic and sexual attraction, if you will, is there. And
Yeah.
to professors, you can extend that. It could be fellow professors, it could be inappropriately their students. I mean, like, yeah, there's
All of the above.
all of the above. Yeah, when you have a regular, high functioning, adrenaline, like, high pressure sort of working relationship with others,
Hmm.
then yes, that kind of, oh god, that kind of, blossoming cherry ice cream of infidelity can just pop out of the bushes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm talking nonsense. Thank you for tolerating me, Mari.
Of course, of course.
Um So yeah, Steve Carell. I mean, I obviously I love him. From the Daily Show to The Office to I think most recently I saw him on the morning show with Jen Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. So
Yes.
Steve Carell, not only is he just a very kind, wonderful man in real life, but also as an actor, he's just very appealing to see. So I will be watching partially for Steve. I think the comedian Robbie Hoffman is in Rooster, isn't she?
They are, yeah.
They are. They are. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. I saw them in Hacks, which recently ended
Yes.
on HBO. Have you seen Hacks?
I have watched the first 3 seasons, and I haven't watched more. It's on the
Oh,
list. I gotta
did it
have
did it jump
rotations.
did it jump the shark, or you just fell out of touch with it?
No, I just stopped watching because other things grabbed my attention, and so it'll circle back around.
Gotcha, gotcha. I would say if you're looking for some pizzazz in the series finale, you may find it, and then you may not find it towards the end. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. If you end up watching it, we'll have to
Yeah.
reconvene on the podcast and do a sort of Hacks finale recap. Um, but yeah, I'm not as crazy as most people are in a positive way about
Okay.
how the show ended. A
How
lot of
it
people seem
ended.
to be touched by it, and I'm just like, meh, kind of a cop out.
Okay. All right. Well, now I'm so curious. Maybe I'll watch it later tonight or
Please do. Just
work
watch
up
the
to it.
entire rest of the series later tonight. Don't get any sleep. Don't worry about what
Right.
you have to do tomorrow. That's your assignment.
That's my assignment. Love it. If only.
What is a delicious thing that's happened in your life lately?
Oh, a delicious thing happening in my life. Whew. I just got back from the Redwood Forest in
Where
Northern California, and
what is that? Is that where
the Redwood
riding?
National Forest
Okay.
is
Sorry. I was gonna
the
say something stupid. No, I was gonna say like, oh, is that where Little Red Riding Hood lives? Like just sounds like a very Little Red Riding Hood kind of town. But anyway, go ahead. Tell
well,
me
it
more.
is a, the it's the world's tallest trees, and they're most of the trees are over 300 feet tall, and most of them have a diameter of over 70 feet in diameter. And they're like 1,500 plus years old. It's bonkers to stand in front of them. I spent so many moments just standing and looking up with my mouth open, just saying, God, this is amazing over and over and over. It was an incredible, incredible experience. Pictures cannot do it justice. If you ever have the opportunity to go to Northern California and experience the Redwood National Forest, highly recommend. It is incredible. There's a place called Fern Canyon. You have to make a reservation, but it's where they filmed part of Jurassic Park. There's a tree grove of these tall redwoods, which is where they filmed part of Return to the Jedi. It's a stunning otherworldly experience. It has its own ecosystem, and like in the canopy of the trees, they have soil and moisture where other plants and animals live. It blows my mind. Even it was just such an amazing experience. I
Mhm.
think everyone deserves to see these in real life. There's a lot of forest bathing. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Just like walking in the forest.
And taking a bath?
I mean, the
I don't
idea
know.
of forest,
What is
yes, the
it?
idea of forest bathing is just like being bathed by the energy of trees.
Oh, it's metaphorical. Okay, that's what
It
you're
is, it's a metaphorical bath.
okay.
Correct. You're not
I'm
really
so
bathing.
sorry. I was like, oh wait, people just like get naked and just take a bath in the forest. All right, there
I
you
mean,
go.
I'm sure that would be equally as delightful, but
Sure.
just being in nature and these enormous trees, it will impact me for the rest of my life to be able to have experienced that. And
Yeah, I was gonna ask how you knew about it, but it sounds like it's been a tourist attraction that's been around, seen in the movies for quite some time, and that's what made
yes,
you curious about seeing
really,
it. Yeah,
it became a national park and national forest in the 60s.
yeah.
So that was kind of the beginning of it.
I
But
wonder if at first sight these tall trees, if I would be like intimidated by like how big they are and how they could just like crush me if they wanted to. And also I'm
oh,
wondering if I
yeah,
could touch the trees. Can you touch them? Because
you
you tell
can.
me that a tree's like 15,000 years old. All I want to do is just touch
Oh,
the
yeah.
age, you know?
Yes, you can touch them, you can hug them. There were many moments of hiking where I was hiking in front of my partner and I would turn around to him just hugging a tree, which was
Oh,
amazing
hey, you know what that
to
makes you,
see.
Mari? You know what that makes you?
What does that make me?
A tree
A
hugger.
tree hugger.
Mhm.
I've been a tree hugger since I was born. Yes, I love to hug a tree. It's the best.
I forgot what that phrase meant. Does that just mean like someone who's like really conscious about the environment?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Northern California. Where are we at? In Sacramento?
Oh, north of Sacramento, we were in Klamath, California, and Crescent City, California, which is right on the coast. So there's a lot of Pacific Ocean experiences and forest experiences, which is such a cool combo.
Are you a fan of the Netflix series Virgin River by any chance?
I have, let's see, I watched the first season, or maybe I watched the first two seasons. So yes.
And then dropped off
And
like you
then
did
I,
with
the
the hacks?
hacks. Yeah, I
What is up with you
know.
not completing shows?
Oof. That is a great question. I may have to take that one to therapy.
Anyway, uh, from what you remember of the first 2 seasons of Virgin River, and yes, I'll be your therapist. We'll have to get down to why you don't complete shows. Is it giving Virgin River vibes? Because Virgin River is set in Northern California, and it has a, I mean, probably the beautiful scenery is 90% of what attracts me about the show.
Yes, I would say it does, but even more. Like, the trees are even bigger and even more impressive
Yeah,
than the
yeah.
scenery on that show.
All right, all right.
Mhm.
I will go there when my wife and I can afford a flight to go there, do you get charged to go in, or is it completely free?
There I think it's some places are $12 to go in, but if you have a national park pass, which is $80 for the year, you can go to any national park in the United States.
As many times as you want.
Correct, in that year that you have the pass.
That is a good deal. That is a good deal. All
Mhm.
right, the Redwood Forest.
Redwood National Forest. Yep.
All right, in Northern
Add it to your
California.
bucket list.
Please, I need to do that because I only have 5 years left.
Huh,
No,
what?
5
That
plus
just
hopefully
changed the
80.
whole tune of this podcast.
Look, it's been a long day. I'm just saying crazy stuff just to say crazy stuff. This is my way of keeping awake. But actually, no, this was a great conversation. My energy has been like re-energized, if that makes any sense. This was a great
Absolutely.
conversation, and I hope we could do this again. Let us know how we can follow you for people that are like, oh my God, Mari Reisberg. Like, let me see how I can get in contact about her services. Like, give us the website, the socials, all
Absolutely.
that stuff.
Yeah. So I am at Sustaining Creativity on all social media platforms. And you can find my podcast, Sustaining Creativity Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you live in Colorado and are interested in a therapist, you can find me on Psychology Today. If you search my name, Mari Reisberg, Mari, last name Reisberg. And yeah, find me, shoot me a message, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. That's where you can find me.
And therapy as it relates to the arts, or just like all encompassing therapy.
All therapies.
All
All
right.
there I Yeah, but you have to live in Colorado, so
Oh yeah, I
because
know. I know.
that's where I'm licensed. Yep.
Yeah, no, I remember yeah, a brief time I lived in upstate New York, the Vermont therapist that I've had for like 6 years was just like, "Okay, well, you have like 30 days and then I got to let you go." And then
Yep.
when I moved back to Vermont, we were able to reunite. So,
Oh, I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. Darn it. I wish I could get like a fake Colorado driver's license. You seem like you would be a great therapist for me, Amari.
Thank you.
Uh,
I love what I do, so it's a lot of
that's
fun.
awesome. That's awesome. All right. Listen to the Delicious Culture wherever you get your podcasts, everybody listening and watching. Apple, Spotify, SiriusXM, iHeart, Amazon, you know where to go. If you like it on Spotify, leave us a 5-star rating. If you like it on Apple, please leave us a written review. It really helps. Email thedeliciousculture@gmail.com with any feedback. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Delicious Culture. That's at The Delicious Culture. Mari, thank you so much. I mean, maybe we can reconnect on your podcast, my podcast, whatever you want to do, but we have to reconnect on a podcast again soon.
I agree. Thank you so much for having me. This has been such a fantastic time. I am super energized as well.
Yes, and the conflict that I have like a few more things to do, but like to have to go to bed after that, it's like, oh, then the adrenaline has to come down, and I got to wake up for work
I
the next
know.
morning. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. All right, for those listening and watching, let deliciousness ring.